You ever have one of those nights that start off painfully ordinary, but before you know it, your whole life is upside down? That's exactly how it was for me. I was just leaving Jude's after a long shift, scrubs still smelling like antiseptic, shoes aching from a double, and all I could think about was reheating leftover soup and getting 5 hours sleep if I was lucky. Nothing about that evening felt remarkable. But then, in the span of a few heartbeats, I learned how fast your fate can change sometimes for the worse, sometimes in ways you'd never imagine. The walk home was my routine, barely 10 minutes, and usually peaceful. But halfway there, under this busted streetlight, I spotted 3 guys clustered around a bench. At first, I figured it was a drunk argument, big city life, right? But there was something off. As I got closer, I realized they weren't fighting each other. They were working over some older man, shoving, kicking, yelling. He looked so small, curled up on the ground, hands over his head, just taking it. My stomach flipped, and everything in me said, walk away, just keep moving. But if you've ever worked a trauma ward, you know when it's not just a fight. This was bad, and no one else was stopping. So I yelled, loud as I could, "Hey, leave him alone." All 3 froze. The tallest turned, eyes cold, lip curling, "Mind your business, lady." But I couldn't. I couldn't just walk away. "He's done nothing to you. Walk." That's when one of them, young, jumpy, something not right in his eyes, pulled a knife. Just like that, in a blur, he lunged, and before I even registered the pain, the blade was buried in my stomach. Hot, deep, the kind of hurt that makes your knees buckle. I fell, the world tilting as blood soaked my scrubs. Everything turned into chaos, screams, running, someone yelling for 911. I remember a man crouched beside me, his voice urgent, "Stay with me. Stay awake." Sirens wailed, and then, out of nowhere, I heard my name, Eric, one of our paramedics, hands shaking as he loaded me onto the stretcher. You want irony? I left Jude's on my own 2 feet. I came back on a gurney, half dead, blood pooling around me. Inside the ER, it was like time stopped, then exploded. I heard the words, "Incoming, Denise Parker, nurse stabbed." Suddenly, everyone was moving. Faces I knew, nurses who'd laughed with me at 3 a.m., docs I'd argued with about discharge orders. Now, they were fighting for my life. There's something surreal about seeing people you joke with 1 minute, cut your clothes, and yell for O negative blood the next. It's humbling, terrifying. I remember Rachel, my Tuesday lunch buddy, stroking my hair, her hands trembling. Dr. Avery barking orders, the team moving so fast, but my world getting slower and slower. My heart was racing, then crashing. They were saying, "She's one of us, she's not breathing," and then I was gone. Or almost. Because as the pain faded, memories crashed over me. Little things, a kid's hand squeezing mine after a car wreck, a mom crying in relief when I said her boy would live, singing to a stroke patient who couldn't sleep, holding a dying man's hand so he wouldn't go alone. I was drifting, but I wasn't afraid, not even when the room filled with panic. I think, deep down, I just didn't want to leave with so much unfinished. Next thing I knew, I was back. Sort of. My heart had stopped, the monitor flatlined, but then against every odd there was a beat, then another. Gasps, a flurry of hands, and suddenly I was rolling to surgery. Dr. Avery leaned down and whispered, "You stay with us, Denise. You don't get to go yet." After that, darkness. I woke up a day later, weak, sore, stitched like a rag doll. My room was flooded with flowers, cards, balloons. Rachel was there, holding my hand, her eyes puffy from crying. She smiled, whispered, "Welcome back." My first words were, "Did the Monty try to help? Did he make it?" Rachel nodded. "You saved him." That's when it hit me. I'd risked everything for a stranger. Didn't know his name, didn't career, just needed help. You think that's the end? Not even close. About an hour later, a man in a suit walks in, government type, the kind who doesn't smile unless he has to. He pulls out a folder stamped with the presidential seal and hands me an invitation straight from the White House. I thought it was a joke, but no, it was real. The man I'd saved? Colonel Thomas Keene, Marine, 3 tours, Silver Star, best friend to the president himself. He'd been jumped that night by guys looking for trouble, and if I hadn't stepped in, he wouldn't have made it. Suddenly, what happened on that dark street rippled all the way to the top. A week later, barely healed, I was standing in the rose garden, squinting under the sun as the president called my name. My parents were there, tears streaming. Keen in full dress uniform, steady as a rock, saluting me. The president told the world, Denise Parker is proof that courage isn't about rank or fame, it's about choosing to do the right thing, no matter the cost. He made me head nurse of the White House medical unit. They gave me a home, a car, a place at the table just for doing what I hope anyone would do. But here's the twist, and maybe the lesson. Everyone saw the headlines, nurse saves hero, gets invited to White House. They saw the photos, the ceremony, the badge. What they didn't see were the quiet days after a slow healing, the new job where every face was powerful, but every pain was still the same. AIDS, Secret Service, even the president when they were scared, they wanted a nurse, not a hero. And that's what I tried to be. Just a nurse who listens, who cares, who remembers birthdays and brings extra snacks, who walks the halls slow and calm, because that's how you keep the peace. People ask me all the time, weren't you scared? Of course I was. But fear isn't the enemy. Hesitation is. You see something wrong, you do something. That's what I believe. I've had new chances, a better home, a safer life, but I didn't change who I was. I still cook simple dinners, still walk to work, still send care packages to the interns back at St. Jude's. Sometimes I go back, quietly, just to remind myself where I came from. On the anniversary of that night, I didn't give a speech. I baked a pie, brought it to the shelter down the block from where I almost died, handed it off with a smile, and walked away. No one knew who I was. Didn't matter. The real legacy isn't a medal or a job title. It's the small choices, the invisible acts. Now, every so often, I'll get a message, thank you, you made my dad feel human again, or you made us believe in good. Those matter more than any headline. I'm still just me. The nurse who happened to walk home at the right or wrong moment. The woman who learned that even when you feel powerless, your actions can echo far beyond what you see. So here's my question for you. What would you have done? Would you step in, even if no one's watching, even if it means risking everything? Do you think courage is born, or is it just a choice you make when the time comes? Tell me what you think. Let's talk about what really matters. Right, wrong, justice, and the little ways we make the world better, one moment at a time. If you found something in my story, if it made you feel, or remember, or question, share your thoughts, your own stories in the comments. Let's remind each other what quiet courage looks like. And if you want more real stories like this, you know what to do, stick around. There's always more to tell.